Today I'm going to be talking about how I designed and sculpted and brought my own original concept of a miniature to life. It's a globe-trotting concept which shows how warriors from different parts of the world are able to summon their local folklore creatures into existence to aid them in battle. I'll talk about the process of how I designed these concepts and how I went about sculpting the character and how things changed along the way. And this also includes the prototyping phase where I also faced some challenges and overcame them. And make sure to stay until the end so you know how you can get your hands on one of these. And yes, they are limited edition. Roll the footage!
In an age swallowed by myth and dust, the world was not merely shaped by mortal ambition, but carved, scorched, and blessed by the will of ancient spirits and forgotten gods. From wind-swept steppes to sun-drenched deserts, every land bore witness to these celestial forces. Through forbidden rites and ancestral oaths, warriors of old unlocked a perilous secret: to call upon the land's most feared and revered legends. This sacred act, whispered across generations as the last invocation, grants one final aid in turning the tide in battles.
I always wanted to create an original character in a unique universe and setting. It is a process that takes a toll on their bodies, and the way they summon them is through sigils that are tattooed on their bodies to be able to will them into being. And me being a lover of Japanese culture, I wanted the first character to be a ninja, a kunoichi to be specific, which is another term for a female ninja. She summons the tengu of the mountains. A tengu is a creature that is supposed to be wise and powerful in Japanese folklore, and because of its wisdom, it has some accessories on it that makes it look like a monk. And of course, when I developed this concept, I came up with a lot of variations and iterations. I looked at different designs of ninjas and also the different variations of the tengu creature itself. And then finally, the design that I was happy with is what you see on screen. As you will see, there are some changes that I made along the way. When I went on to the sculpting phase, I'm also grateful for the friends who have given me feedback during this process. Friends? You have friends? So it allowed me to make iterations and add some details that were necessary. In the sculpting phase, it wasn't that difficult for me as I knew what I wanted and I followed very closely to the concept design of the characters. But what did change is before I started to pose the characters and set the composition for this miniature, I felt something was missing. It was very static and there wasn't enough movement, which is usually represented in my work. So what I did was actually change the pose such that she is represented in a more dynamic posture and ready to attack. I also changed the posture of her arms to make the sigil on her arms more visible during the summoning process. In the sculpting phase, I also decided to add a little Easter egg which would be part of all the miniatures moving forward. As you can see, there's a little fox sleeping under the steps. Again, this is a throwback to Japanese culture. A fox is kind of common in the Japanese folklore and mythological stories. Once I was happy with the new composition, I went on to sculpt on the details, as you can see. So the next phase was to prototype in the 3D printing phase. Again, thanks to Frozen for supporting the channel. They sponsored the resin for the prototyping process, so make sure to go check them out if you are into 3D printing. I used the Chitubox software for preparing the models and creating the supports for 3D printing. When I did the initial prints, I also noticed there are some changes I had to do, like thickening of certain areas and certain parts. The first wave of the miniature, which is now sold out, was all 3D printed. What I always wanted from the very beginning was that the unboxing experience for the miniature has to be unlike anything else in the market right now. Hence the premium packaging and each individual parts being showcased in a foam, in a magnetic clip box, in a premium packaging where you can see all the parts being laid out in front of you. Once the first wave was sold out, I was happy to get some feedback from the customers and other collectors as well. Are you sure people are buying this shit? Which made me to realize that I need to go into full resin casts for this miniature. So the second wave is all resin casted, which is actually shipping right now. And the quality of these resin casts will speak for themselves because they do not require any cleanup for painting. So basically all you have to do is paint and assemble your model. This guy. He took so long to release this video, the second wave already sold out. We're already in the third wave, damn it. During this resin casting stage, there were some improvements made on the base of the miniature where we thickened it and added additional supports to make sure there are no leaning or bending of the resin in the future. This also includes a metallic structure which supports the weapon of the Tengu. What you're getting here is pretty much a premium collectible-like experience in miniature form. I also went on to paint the miniature, which was also my first time painting a 75mm scale figure of this size. The painting process was relatively fun, but I also didn't have much time to finish it. As you can see, there were some improvements and changes made from the box art when it came to the actual physical miniature. And what might be apparent to you by now is that there are actually alternate portraits and swap out options for this miniature. So you can actually display it the way you want. There's the masked and the unmasked head for the kunoichi, and there's also a weapon hand, a summoning hand that you can swap out. And I hope to continue Feathers and Steel moving forward to be able to release more characters from this universe. And this being from a Japanese folklore, the next character in the series will be from a Nordic setting, and you guys can take some guesses on what is the kind of warrior and the summon could be for this setting. I'm also exploring the possibilities of offering larger scale bust for the characters of this series. The bust is already out and shipping now. Get your order in there, bitches. If you'd like to see them, do let me know in the comments as well. And if you want to get your hands on this limited edition miniature, head over to the link in the description to secure yours. They're shipping right now. What are you waiting for? Slap the shit out of that button!